What if there's actually nothing wrong with your libido? What if your body isn't broken? What if your body is just refusing self-abandonment? Because I think a lot of women believe they've lost their desire when they've really become disconnected from their bodies through internalized patriarchy. People pleasing, performance, emotional labor, resentment, and overriding their intuition. I know because I lived it. There was a time where I genuinely did not want men touching me, not because I hated them, but because my body no longer wanted dynamics that required me to betray myself. And when I started confronting the ways I had internalized patriarchy inside of me, everything changed. The ways I performed instead of received, the ways I disconnected from my anger to stay lovable, the ways I abandoned my truth to maintain belonging. In that moment, I stopped abandoning myself. My desire came back online. Not performative sexuality, but real, alive turn on. This is also why sisterhood matters so deeply. Women heal in spaces where they feel both activated and safe. It's like I want more and I trust her and I feel held. Because when women experience their nervous system finally have permission to reconnect to pleasure, power, softness, truth, and desire again, that's what we're diving into today. Marta, do you think a lot of what women call low libido is actually their body refusing self-abandonment?
Oh, for sure. I think we are so conditioned to suppress, ignore, override ourselves, our truth, our intuition. Think about it. For centuries, women's intuition has been like this dangerous thing, this unreliable, unpredictable, can't trust it, right? And of course that turns us off. Like that's the whole point. The point is to turn us off so that we don't have the power that we are born with, right? So that we continue to live in this culture that says, men are superior, men are better, men are more capable, men should be in charge of everything, including your sex life.
Right.
Yeah, I think it then manifests as this feeling of like, oh, I used to get turned on by these things and now I don't anymore, and it must be hormones or this is just
Right.
aging or whatever. We make all these assumptions, but we completely miss the narrative of like, no, no, you have been for decades trained out of sensation, out of your power, out of your aliveness, so that you can be this easy to control, version of a woman. That's not a libido problem, baby.
Yeah, no, and I totally agree. And I think that there's that moment of right before you start blaming yourself or start thinking about all of the reasons why this could happen. The thing that most women skip, I have done this too, is really having gratitude for my body being like, wow, my body's responding intelligently
Yeah.
to years. Well, it's not even just years, it's decades and generational trauma, if we're going to be really real, of
Yeah.
my body's just responding thank you, body, responding intelligently because it's tired of overriding my intuition. It's
Yeah.
tired of me being small and shrinking because I'm afraid I'm going to be too much for someone else. They won't be able to handle it. Or saying what I really want because it might make somebody really uncomfortable. My body just got fucking tired of it. And it's no more, shut down. Because, a woman's body will eventually shut down if intimacy consistently feels tied to obligation, tied to performance, tied to caretaking, tied to self-betrayal. What women call low libido is often a nervous system that no longer feels safe enough to fully open.
Yeah.
And yeah,
Absolutely.
we just didn't feel safe, and our body was abort mission.
Yeah.
We like the thing is what I realize is that I was so disconnected from my body, I had no idea that's what my body was doing. It is like a form of self-protection because it's like, no more, I'm not letting you do this. But I was so disconnected, I was so in my head that I
Yep.
couldn't even have that register for me.
Totally. And I think that's like you're pointing to the exact problem that so many women fall into is this you start getting mad at yourself and your body.
Right.
And meanwhile, your body's like, bitch, you've been ignoring me forever. Like, you're not listening to the cues I'm giving. You don't care. You just want to override me. You just want me to comply in the same way the patriarchy wants you to comply. That's what you're doing to me. And earlier in life, that worked. Earlier in life when you're younger and everything is new, right? There's so much novelty
Hmm.
to your experiences, especially your sexual ones, that like you can kind of still find turn on and desire and whatever, and like it's exciting. Just the possibility is exciting. As you age, as you have more experience, as the
Yeah.
novelty of it wears off, that's when it gets really real. And our default assumption is like there's something wrong with me because it used to work and it's not working. But you're missing this thing that we're bringing to the conversation today, how patriarchy has affected all of us and how it's become internalized
Right.
in the way that we view sex, in the way that we view men, in the way that we view our bodies, in the way that we view like what our role is as a woman in relationship. And the solution isn't to pop some hormones and to like buy new lingerie or to try harder. It's actually to like unpack and unwind some of this conditioning and start to form a new relationship with your body and yourself that allows turn on to come back, that allows it to, because it's just there, it's just waiting. You're actually suppressing it, right? That's kind of the
That actually, so I'm so
inadvertent.
glad, yeah, I'm so glad you're saying that. I actually think like before we even go further, like let's rewind. Let's define what internalized patriarchy is
Yeah.
for women. What does it actually look like for us in everyday life so that we're all in the same conversation?
Yeah. Yeah. Well, this is the way I understand it. You can tell me if your version differs or not,
Hmm.
but it's patriarchy is basically this model, this system, right, for the culture of the male is the correct human. Like that's the simplest way to put it, right? And this applies to everything from the way medicine is developed, the way safety gear is developed, the way all of our systems are built, the way the workday is structured, the way all everything, like it's the water we swim in essentially. And that model says that the male is the correct and the female is somehow inferior, it's secondary, it's weaker, it's less reliable and predictable, it has these cycles that throw everything off. It's why they do most research for like clinical trials for medication on men because they don't have to deal with the cycle, right? It's just easier. That conditioning like seeps into the water supply. And think about it, like little boys are raised and taught that like don't cry, don't be weak, don't run like a girl, don't throw like being a girl is the worst
Right,
thing you could be.
right, right. That's
So
such a good point.
that's what the men learn, right? And then the women also learn that. Like we also learn
Yes,
that. It's not
yes,
said here. Like we're told you can do anything you want, but you actually can't. You can do anything you want as long as you stay in this box. And this is what pisses me off. Actually, as I'm saying this, I'm like getting angry because it took me until I was like 50 to realize that this was the substrate in which I was existing. Like I
yes,
didn't really see it.
yes.
Or that
Right.
5 minutes ago, we didn't even have the rights we have now as women
Yeah.
to say own property, rent our own apartment, get a credit card, start a business. Like that happened in my lifetime. Some of those things became possible. Um, but we're sold this like you can do whatever you want. Actually, you can't because the system says you have to not be too sexy. You can't be too loud or too proud or too aggressive or like it's ridiculous how many constraints are put on us. And so patriarchy is that system that basically sets the foundation, sets the bar of what's possible, but it's not taught to us, it's taught through us.
Right.
So you don't see it.
Right. And it's like the thing is that because it's abstract,
Yeah.
um, it's like, oh yeah, you could do whatever you want, but here, joke's on you. You've got to get past through all of the internalized limitations that come from the patriarchy that we've put on you. So just try to fucking do that. Just like, because that's really the obstacle. The biggest obstacle is the limits that we put on ourselves. And it's like, for me, internalized patriarchy is when a woman unconsciously adopts beliefs and behaviors that disconnect her from her own body.
Yeah.
Like for me, it's like, okay, like when I noticed, it's like I need this, but I'm too afraid to ask because of what they might say. Or like I get a hit, like my intuition is like, do this thing, but I'm like, I don't know, because what would everyone else think if I did this thing?
Exactly. Yeah.
And then, but like my body's like screaming, do the thing. And it's power, it's power in order to be accepted, chosen, safe,
Yes.
loved. So it's a real disconnection. And like, it looks like people pleasing over telling the truth. Now I'm finally in a new era of telling truth in my life. But before, fuck, I would not say a word because I was so terrified that somebody else might not be okay.
Yeah.
Like they
Yeah.
might not be okay. And that is like women are not allowed to speak their truth in our culture. They're
Yeah.
not encouraged. We're not encouraged. And notice that if that's happening in your life, like the overriding constant intuition, how many times have you had a hit? Even like to maybe if you're like driving somewhere, like maybe you leave an hour earlier, an hour later, but then a man in your life is like, no, we're going to leave at this time. And then you're stuck in all of this traffic. Or like, I mean, it's that basic, right? Because it could be small hits and little hits. And then like feeling guilty for having needs. Like,
Yep.
I feel bad that I like want to go live my life because this man and the man's needs are somehow became more important than my
Yeah.
needs.
Yeah, that's the thing that like we don't even realize is how much the male perspective is centered in our
Yeah,
world. Like that's another form of patriarchy that we internalize because we agree to it. That's what we mean by internalize, right? That you have agreed to these rules that you didn't have a say in without even
unconsciously.
realizing that
Yeah,
you agreed to them, but you're living by them.
yeah,
Like I can look back at my professional life, before I went on the entrepreneurial journey, and I can see how like so many times I was afraid of being viewed as too aggressive, too bitchy, too demanding, too crazy, too like whatever, right? So we're so afraid of being too something that we like contort it, we contain it, we make it smaller, we shrink it. And you think that that doesn't matter. Like, who cares, Marta, what you said at work? How does that affect your
right,
libido?
right.
This is over time. What happens is your body's
Yeah,
like, he won't listen to me. She
right.
won't listen to me. So I'm going to stop sending these signals. I'm just going to like go numb. And eventually she's going to be like, wait a minute, why am I numb?
Right.
And here we
Exactly.
are.
Well, yeah. Well, it's like an unconscious thing. Like that's like the unconscious part. Like your body's like, all right, she's not listening to me, so I'm shutting down because this just feels so bad. I'm so sick of it. I'm taking over, and unfortunately, when you don't listen to your body outside of the bedroom, your body doesn't know the difference, and then it registers that as well. It doesn't know how to pick and choose.
Yeah.
Like, okay, I'm going to listen and open here and feel safe here, but I'm not going to listen and open here. It's like, you're not listening to me. I'm not going to listen to you.
Yeah.
And that is like the really most important thing. Like, and it's really about at like, the internalized patriarchy is really at its core about like abandoning yourself to maintain belonging
Yes.
within the culture, within the
Yep.
tribe, within the
Yep.
where you are with your family. Like that's what it is. And it's like the way that I think about it is like, okay, if this thing is turning me off, if it feels bad, if it's registering as bad, I need to stop and notice. Like, because if it feels bad, my feelings are indicating to me something's up. And until I can get to this is going to feel good to do this, I'm not going to do it because it's like I don't want to override my body anymore because I'm so sick of it. And that's actually when my body is like, okay, now she's listening to me. Like when something feels bad, it's that basic. When you're turned off by something, that's the indication that like your body's like, don't do this.
Mm. Yep.
It's
Yep.
like, yeah, yeah,
Yeah. And I feel like, the path back to your body, the path back to like your truth, um, often starts with just what you were saying, just noticing. Like, because in this process of abandoning ourselves and in ignoring the body and overriding the body, we like lose our ability to listen to it. We
right.
forget, right?
Yes,
Because we're so used to being like, oh, I have to pee, I'll wait 5 minutes. Oh, I'm hungry, I don't have time to eat now. We do it like in a million different ways during the day.
yes,
So step one is really to start to notice, what is your body actually even saying to you? Like right now, just for a second, just
yeah,
check in. What are you feeling? How is this conversation feeling in your body? Like, do you feel a pit in your stomach? Do you feel your jaw or your shoulders tightening? Are you open and curious? Or like, where, you know what I mean? Like, just start noticing that and do that throughout the day. Like, when you're in a conversation with someone, just check in. Tune in, like, what's the internal weather, is kind of how I like to phrase it. And when you start to like just notice, that can be enough to open the floodgates of like, oh, not only do I notice how I'm feeling right now, I notice that I don't want this feeling. I want something else. I can choose differently. But it all starts with just noticing that this is happening to you. Notice the misalignment between how you're living, what you're doing in the outside world, and what you're actually feeling internally.
yeah,
And it can start with something as simple as like actually going pee when you have to pee, actually drinking some water when you're
mhm,
thirsty. You know what I mean? Like, start with the little stuff. Um,
yeah. That's so good.
doesn't sound like it affects your libido, but it does, because your body is listening all the time, all the time. It's always with you.
Yeah, and it's like it's like this like when you start to let the small desires come back, then the bigger desires have space because a desire can't thrive inside a chronic self-abandonment. Can't
Yeah.
do it.
Yeah.
Can't do it. It's like it's dead in the water. It's dead in the
Yeah.
water.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And I think one of the big things that, like, if you're listening to this or you're watching this and you're like, I don't know, I don't think that's true for me, or there's like some bit of recognition and some bit of doubt, can you identify what you actually really want? Like, are you clear on your desires? Can you articulate them? Do you know what turns you on? Because most women I find that come to this work with us, they can't even answer that
Correct.
question, or they'll answer it very superficially, or they'll answer what they know turns him on,
Right.
what works with him, but their own sense of like, yes, this makes me really wet, this makes me really, just they've lost touch with it. So again, it's about coming back into relationship with your body. It's just like the thing I started this with. That's where it starts to
So
shift.
I'm so glad you brought that up because what changes in a woman's relationship with men when she stops performing people pleasing and overriding her body?
Well, first of all, the amount of pleasure that you can experience, the amount of like aliveness that comes back into your system, there is no better source of it out there. Like, there's no drug, there's no food, there's no roller coaster that beats what you can experience in your own body, and the like pharmacy of neurochemicals that cascade through your system when you stop performing and actually receive pleasure from a trusted partner. Like, that just, I'm getting goosebumps talking about it.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's like the ultimate, and there's no ceiling to it. Like,
Yes.
I can tell you my best experience, there's a better one coming later
Yeah.
today. I guarantee
Yeah.
it. Like, it just keeps building, you know?
Right. That's such a good point.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, it's like I know for myself when when I stopped being like resentful of men, when I stopped like feeling powerless
Yeah.
around them, like I was like freer to be more
Yeah.
transparent, more honest,
Yes.
and more discerning. And
Yeah.
that allowed me to relax more because now I was like one with myself
Mm.
and paradoxically made me more magnetic. And I see that all the time with other women. Like the more that they can relax and they feel they create that safety for themselves in their body, they feel safer to open. And the men are like, oh my God, she's so like sparkly. I want to know her, you know? And it's like, it's such a huge shift because you think you're doing this for you, which you are, but also the benefits, like life becomes more magnetic to you. You know,
Yes.
when like you
100%.
no longer feel like you have to betray yourself, when you've given your like self permission to be like,
Yes.
I'm no longer betraying myself to
Yes.
like, I'm no longer betraying myself to receive love, to receive approval, to receive connection. All of a sudden, your nervous system is like, ah, like it's like I feel like it's like that like Rocky song, like,
Totally. Well, think about it, you're going from like, I'm going to do all these things that don't feel right to me, override my body, my truth, like my preferences, my natural personality, even. I'm going to do all those things to make them more likable, to somebody else. And that's one version. And then the other version of you is like, no, no, this is the true version of me. This is me speaking my truth. This is me having a high standard. This is me knowing my worth and my value and loving myself and
exactly.
accepting myself and not needing anything from anyone else. That's those two energies. Like if you put those two women in the room, everyone's gravitating towards the one that's like knows her
Exactly.
worth and is good, right? Because
Like,
she's interesting, fascinating, magnetic, like you were saying. And this one's like easy and I can like manipulate her as I see fit, but
that,
that's boring, like, and like, what are you? Who are you? What do you want? What do you like? I don't know. This bitch
yeah.
over here knows what's up.
Yeah, and then it's like so it's like because all of a sudden now she's in congruence. Like I'm in congruence, my body, my mind, they're vibing in a way that's like so clear.
Yes.
Then that's like and then it's like there's no way the standards can't rise. It's like automatic upgrade. And so then the universe starts to respond, like the law of attraction starts to be like, oh, look at her standing up for herself and choosing her desires over what other people want. Wait, we're gonna get she is a channel. She is ready to properly receive the things that she says she wants because she is in full congruence to actually receive it,
Yeah.
right? And
Yeah.
that is such a vibe. And then it's like you're no longer exhausted by men or like tolerating man boys. You're like
Totally. Totally.
actually,
It is the entire experience, right? Like you and I've had the experience of like
yeah,
when we're in our turn on, which PS is most of the time. I brag. When
yeah,
we are in our turn on and we go out in public, what happens? Like inevitably,
exactly. Yeah,
people gravitate towards us. They have questions for us. They want to give us
yeah,
compliments. They want to, buy us dessert. They want to invite us places. Like that's just what happens.
right,
When you're
exactly.
actually like in your body, in your truth. We're so not used to seeing that. And I think a lot of women will listen to a conversation like this or have conversations about their own, like, fuck the patriarchy, right? Like that moment of feminism, and then fall right back into internalized patriarchy because it's so pervasive and it's so normal. It's so normal. Like I see her doing it, her doing it, her doing it. And it's like, well, I
Exactly. And that leads me to the next question.
don't.
Why do you believe women can only fully heal this level of shutdown and disconnection in sisterhood with other embodied women?
Yeah, because the world is pushing us in the other direction. And it's just like, I don't know. I'm trying to think of a good metaphor. Like, it's like trying to like doggy paddle your way across the Pacific. Like, it's fucking exhausting and you're probably going to give up and drown at some point. But if you have a whole bunch of people that you're with that you can like have this experience together, be energized by her transformation and the risks she's taking and how she's showing up, like, you start to see other people giving themselves permission, other women giving themselves permission to speak their truth, to ask for what they want, to receive, to not just like shrink. And you're like, well, if she can do that, so can I. And then you start doing it. And then she takes inspiration from you. So it's
Yeah.
this like, it's the same effect that patriarchy has on us, but put to a better use really to bring us back to our power and to our truth. And there's just so much momentum against us that I Like I tried to do this on my own and I'm like a proud lone wolf. Like I can get
Yeah.
my own shit done and take care of myself. And I was like, I can handle this. I can read all the books and do all the things and whatever. And like, no.
But I want to say that that is like the first step to breaking through internalized patriarchy, because that is part of the self-abandonment. We were like back in the day, ancient times, women were in groups.
Yeah,
Like while the men went out and hunted, and if they split up, they were on their own. We stayed together, holding down the fort, taking care of each other's babies and all of the things. So at a more primal, like in our DNA, we are more powerful together. So the idea that you actually like well bragged that you were like, I can't, like I'm a proud lone wolf, is actually like an internalized
realized
patriarchy.
patriarchy. Totally.
And it's like, amazing that you're like, you own it and you're like, I don't like, see, that's the thing. And that's what happens when you get into these spaces. You're like, oh yeah, like, you don't have shame about it. You don't have charge. Like Marta just exemplified that. Like, it's like, I'm also like, I disenfranchise whatever, whenever I need to, because that's still part of me. And I haven't like completely removed all of the internalized patriarchy, but I'm not mad at it anymore. I'm
Yeah.
not like something's wrong with me anymore. It's just like part of who I am. But also like, I know like there's no way I would be able to like even get like a microdose of the desires that I've gotten manifested in my life without having like-minded embodied women to support me, because women heal relational wounds relationally. Like
Yeah.
that's what happens. So
Yeah.
when like we're conditioned inside of the culture where self-abandonment is, it's normalized. Like that
Yeah.
lone wolf thing is normalized and actually even rewarded, right?
Totally.
So
Totally. Absolutely. In fact, I want to tell a little story about
yeah.
you.
Okay. Tell
So
me a
the
story
first,
about me.
yeah. So the first time I met Barbara, um, it was in a container. It was a women's empowerment thing, whatever. Anyway, it was a place where I finally was like, I need to change this. This is like my libido's dead. I have no lust for life. My aliveness is gone. I'm met, right? It was like the thing you might be thinking right now as you're watching this episode, feeling the same way. And so I signed up for this program, invested a whole bunch of money, a whole bunch of time. This was 6 months. It was intensive. It was like, I'm all in. But I showed up as the lone wolf, right? With the internalized patriot, because that's still who I am. So I was like, I'm going to show up to this thing. I'm going to do it. But then mostly I'm going to handle it on my own because I don't know these bitches. I don't trust these bitches, whatever. And day one, I meet Barbara, whatever. And we're doing some exercise there. And Barbara's not having any of this exercise. Barbara's having her own experience. And she's basically throwing like a toddler temper tantrum.
Yeah.
Now, I had not been in a room with grown women where someone threw a toddler temper tantrum since we were like in nursery school. Like, we just don't do that. You just don't do that. That's like a scene, right? Barbara makes the scene. She's like, fuck you, fuck her, fuck this. I'm
Yeah.
not into it. And I remember what an impact that had, not just on me, but on the other women in this group, because she just gave us permission to express our truth. Because her truth was like, I didn't pay all this money and make this time to do this thing. I'm not into it. I'm not going to make myself small and pretend and comply. I'm going to express how I feel. And I feel like that shifted things for me in that moment so much of like, oh, again, if she can do it, so can I. If she can express her truth, why don't I? And I watched how this like changed the room and the permission that everyone in that container had to show up as their real messy selves. So
Thank
I
you.
say that
Yeah.
like that was huge. And
Thank
so
you.
like that's the difference it makes when you're in sisterhood, when you're with women who are like on the same journey. They can raise the bar for you. They can create permission for you. You just like it's part of patriarchy is wanting us to be separate, to view each other as competition for men, for resources, for attention, right? That like I can't trust her because we're after this. No, that's again part of the whole patriarchy thing. Together we can unravel this and set new standards and show up as our true selves in ways that are so delicious.
Yeah, and I just like thank you, like yes, and thank you, because that story that you were talking about, that thing that you just like Marta had just exemplified that I did, it's about when women enter spaces where truth and embodiment and boundaries and softness and standards are modeled by other women, the nervous system finally gets a new reality to
Yes.
orient around. So
Yeah.
sisterhood is actually the thing that interrupts the isolation that they all want us to be in. It
Yep.
interrupts the shame. It
Hmm.
interrupts the belief that exhaustion and numbness and resentment and disconnection is like, this is just how life is, right? Like, it
Yep.
doesn't have to be that way. Women, in order for us to truly heal, we need to be in these spaces where we're witnessed, we're validated, we're challenged, and we're reminded that you're allowed to belong without abandoning yourself. Because
Yes.
once you start to like get that imprint, there's
Yeah.
no way you're going back. You're
That's
not
right.
going back. You're not going back. So,
No
Marta,
way.
do you have anything else you would like to say about this whole topic?
It's just, you hear about patriarchy all the time and like it's always this like feminist argument or whatever. It's not. It's like it's not an argument. It's just the truth of the culture we live in. Like so you can continue to pretend it's not there and continue to live by these rules that were forced upon you, or you can say, "Wait a minute. There's another truth here and I'm going to explore it. I'm going to notice it. I'm going to pay attention to it. I'm going to allow it to rise to the surface." And you can choose to be in sisterhood. You can, for example, join the Sensual Sisterhood, which is the container we created for this very reason, and come experience it for yourself. See how we give each other permission. Feel what it's like to witness a woman in her truth, whatever that is, no matter how raw, messy. It's not always like sexy and embodied. So, I mean, it's always embodied, but it's not always pretty. But it's fucking real and it makes all the difference.
Yeah, you get to be real. Like, if this is resonating with you, if you're like, yeah, I do want my nervous system to orient around a new reality where I am freer and more alive and turned on, and I do like I do desire to have a wet pussy, like just because it's Tuesday.
It's because life turns you on.
Right.
Yes.
Tuesday at 4 p.m. and feel what that's like just going around doing errands and laundry and whatever. Like, I'm like, this is where it starts. Like, this is where it starts in sisterhood with sisters who've already done it, who are ahead of you, who will share with you what they know, how they've done it, and will celebrate you, who will witness you in all of it, in your tantrum, in your like anger, in your grief, in anything, any part of you that you've abandoned. We encourage and invite that part to take center stage.
Yeah, well said. That's it. I got nothing to add. We nailed it.
Thank you.